Welcome back to the FamilyDeal.com Sports Cave, joined now happily by Emily Walden of The Athletic. She is a Tigers prospect beat reporter, which basically means she has to follow, I don't know, like 3,000 players or something like that?
More or less, yeah.
I mean, it never stops for you because you're always traveling between, you know, summer league and spring ball and then A, double A, triple A, and you're all over the map. Welcome back. You haven't been here in a couple of months, I don't think.
It's been a while, and the last time it was Red Wings Pistons.
That's
and
right.
So it was a little hard to get too much in depth into baseball, but we have some good stuff to talk about now.
Well, let's start with the big club because I know you took in a game yesterday.
Correct.
And today you kind of looked for, I mean.
As much as Mother Nature allowed.
Postponement for 4 months. Have you ever heard of that?
I haven't, and to do it in the 7th inning I thought was really unusual, and I don't think either team was too thrilled about it, but that's just the way the rules fall sometimes.
It looked like the A's manager just stayed out on the field and was like, what are you doing with the tarp? Leave it. We're fine. But alas, let's talk about this team because, look, I mean, the run differential is the first thing I'm going to bring up. I mean, It's easy to say, well, their bats stink, but why do the Tigers struggle on offense right now?
From what I've been able to kind of witness has been a mix of some of the aging veterans with some of the more inexperienced younger guys. And I spoke with one of the Tigers players and he said it's just kind of a clash of two generations who are kind of learning to work together. And then you've got to have that coaching staff be patient with the process of developing the younger guys. So I think it's just a process of them kind of feeling it out, learning their way, and then hopefully learning how to work together with those two different groups.
That's the first time I've heard that perspective kind of being brought to light about is there a power struggle with that? And not that the young people are coming in and being like, we're taking over, or the veterans are saying, we're not listening to you, but it just maybe, you know, just because, is it just kind of a byproduct of the situation that they have in the clubhouse?
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it a power struggle. I would say more of just guys learning how to work together, because I think you have two separate groups, and so they have to learn how to communicate. How are they working together? What can the veterans teach the younger guys? And will the younger guys apply that, or do they have a little bit of an ego coming into it? So it's a very different mix, and the players have said it's taken some adjustment, but they're optimistic about it.
Look, everybody relegated themselves. Okay, we got the full-blown rebuild on. You're going to give the Tigers a pass. That's why the seats are empty. That's why no one's really up in arms about anybody's job at this particular juncture in time. But fans kind of want to have a timeline. And it's just kind of the way things work, even though that's kind of unfair.
Sure.
When do you think we'll see some sort of light at the end of this tunnel?
I think we're looking probably closer to 2021.
Whoa.
And I know that's not what people are wanting to hear, but just understanding how much these guys still need to develop and to get them back to a contention point. I think you could see a good trend up in 2020, but I think it's going to be a little bit longer before they actually move back to being a contender.
Casey Mize obviously throws a no-hitter earlier this season.
Talk about setting the bar, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? You know, #1 overall pick. This is a guy that people want to see sooner than later, but they're obviously going to be, you know, for lots of different reasons, holding him back from getting into the bigs before he's ready. How close is he, though? And then now he's in Double A.
I think the fact that he's come off so strong, there is a chance he could see Detroit by the end of this year. Personally, not a huge fan of the idea, just from a development standpoint. I think a good healthy time in AAA, see some more kind of advanced lineup, some different teams, see what he's able to do. He's still very critical of his fastball command, which after throwing a no-hitter, it's kind of funny that he would mention frustration with that. But I think it's good for a development thing. But if he's putting the work in, they're showing results, the Tigers could call on him to maybe for September, a little bit later on.
Is that kind of his personality, though? Is he one of those? I've only talked to him one time, so I don't really have a good gauge on what kind of, is he one of those really controlled about his game?
Very much. He's always wanting to get better. Credit always goes to his teammates first. And then you ask him how he felt he did. I could have been better in this, I could have been better in this. But it's a sign of a true competitor, and that's the kind of guy you want to see, and he's got all the pressure in the world. When you're 1-1, you have to be able to produce, and he understands that.
Now, before the show, you did tell me there was some negative news out of the younger camp, if you will. Share with the people. I don't want to do it.
It's always making me do the dirty work. Franklin Perez is back on the injured list.
Oh, boy.
It's the 4th time since he's come in with the Tigers organization. First start, had a blister, and he's had shoulder inflammation issues ever since, and this is the same ongoing problem. So Tigers aren't sure how long it's going to be, but unfortunately for now, he is inactive. That's
not the only one, though, right? Because they've had a couple other guys.
That is correct. Kyle Funkhauser suffered a right shoulder impingement, TBD, when he's going to be back. They have not decided that yet. Bo Burrows is still on the injured list for same shoulder issues. So we're really not sure. And those are some of their top guys. So you
Right.
really want to see them get back into commission.
All right, talk me off the ledge now. Why should I be optimistic about what the Tigers are doing, at least building sense-wise?
I think the fact that we're starting to see some of the position players really grow into their own. Guys like Isaac Paredes, Daz Cameron, who's had a little bit of a challenge this year in Toledo. A lot of people are starting to freak out and go, I thought he could hit. Why is he suddenly not hitting? He's picking it back up. And I think for a lot of them, it's learning how to play at those higher levels, learning how to problem solve, learning how to get yourself out of a jam every once in a while, and then kind of see where you can go from there. So a lot of the position guys are coming into it. Matt Manning, he's another one who's coming up as well, had a lot of success. Alex Faedo is still a little unpredictable. There's definitely some good stuff there, but he's just got to learn how to channel it in and get back to that arsenal he had in college.
I got to ask you, now that you brought that up, speaking of AAA, Jamer Candelario being sent back down. I mean, this is the guy that I looked at least from a defensive standpoint. I thought, okay, you got your everyday third baseman. What's going on with his swing right now that's causing him issues?
I think it's really mental for him because I don't know if you remember when he first came into the big league group, he was hitting really well. His biggest question was, can he handle third base? And he kind of moved into that a little bit,
Sure.
struggled a little, but we all looked at it and went, okay, he'll grow into it eventually. He really thinks that's mental. I spoke with him last week, and he obviously, such a competitor, wants to get out there and show the team he can come back. He said, I just have to get back to a good place where I know that I can hit and show that I can actually get it done.
So he's taking it in stride, because sometimes a demotion like that can really mess with a guy more than maybe sticking with him at the beginning.
Correct. And Ron Gardner-Heyer said too, he goes, it's really tough to do this because he said that's a guy you want in your clubhouse. That's the type of personality who he's going to get all the guys pumped up, keep them positive. But for him, it's about him now. He's got to focus on his own state mentally. Remember that he's capable of doing it because he hits well. We've all seen it, but he's still young, still got some growing up to do.
I have to ask you about the skip. Ron Gardenhire, look, he knew the job he was taking when he took it. He knew this team wasn't going to be necessarily contending for a whole lot, but at the same time, the frustration night in and night out is becoming more apparent. He's being shorter with reporters. He's getting thrown out of way more games. Where is he at with everything that's been going on?
He says he has an understanding that this is the way it's supposed to be. I don't know if we see him around for a long time to come. I don't think that was ever the expectation, but I think even for him, he's got to take a step back and remember rebuilds are generally not very fun. Watching these guys come in, sort of learn the roles, they've got to shuffle around the utility infielders. Nico's done everything but pitch at this point.
Right.
So you're seeing guys get a lot of different work in different areas, and I think for him, he's just trying to take over his own job security and show, hey, I can work with this group. And when there's these losses happening, it's really hard for him as well.
But the Tigers, once again, they did not lose today. They didn't win either. So I guess
We'll count our blessings where we can.
almost like they had 2 off days. Matt Boyd's having a Topgolf charity outing tomorrow night. That'll be interesting to cover. Emily Walden from The Athletic. She always does a great job. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Continue to read her stuff at The Athletic. And of course, she'll be back here. I don't know. We'll get you back here in July.
Yeah,
that
sounds
sound
like a
good?
plan. I like that.
All right, mark it
Sounds
down
good.
your calendar there. All right, coming up next, though, we got to talk to the guy who stood over a $500,000 putt. $500,000. What was he thinking? And did he make that putt? We'll tell you next on thefamilydeal.com 7 Sports Cave right after this.